Good noon. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. Welcome to your Tuesday editorial analysis. We did miss some days in the middle. Instead of Tuesday, I took it on another day. I hope all of you can see and hear me clearly. Give me a thumbs up if you can, and we'll start. I've chosen a very good editorial today, something which is a much debated and debatable topic, something that all of you must be aware of. Right? What have we chosen for today? It's an editorial from the Indian Express. It is about work hours for the youth. It is based on what Narayan Murthy said the other day and all the debate surrounding what he said. All right, the editor's view on that. All right, so as you know, this editorial analysis will help you with your RC preparation for CAT. You have to read the editorial, try to understand the main points and answer the questions based on it. In addition to the 5 RC questions, I also have some vocabulary and grammar questions. One grammar question as usual. Let us start. All right. The first slide would take you around 40 seconds. Time yourself to 30 to 40 seconds for a text of this length. Actually, even that is too much. I will read it for you. Infosys founder Narayan Murthy touched off a debate when he advocated longer work hours for India's youth. You know what he did? He said that India's youngsters need to work longer. He argued that India's work productivity is one of the lowest in the world. Since your productivity is low, you put in more hours of work so that you can increase the productivity. So what was his request to our youngsters? He said, this is what the youngsters should say to themselves. My request is that the youngsters must say, this is my country, I would like to work 70 hours a week. I'm glad I'm not a youngster. A sense of ownership and commitment, though I work more than 70 hours a week. If you take the number of classes I take, but still, to say you have to work 70 hours would make me feel sad. A sense of ownership and commitment to one's country is indeed. Now this ends what Narayan Murthy said. From here, the editor is giving his views. A sense of ownership and commitment to one's country is indeed a sentiment worth inculcating in a young and old alike. You don't have to be young, you can be old also, but everyone, young and old alike, needs to have a sense of ownership for his country, for his community, and also commitment. That is good. That can be inculcated. However, the moment you come across a word which says however and but, you're very sure, okay, what's happening? However, 2 questions come up. What are those 2 questions? Have we done enough to facilitate a sense of shared destiny at a national level necessary to inculcate this ownership? Now, there has to be a situation in place so that the citizens get this feeling of commitment, get this feeling of shared identity. Have we done enough to inculcate that sense of shared destiny at a national level, to inculcate this kind of ownership at the national level? And second question, what does it mean for a young person to contribute to nation building? So the author asks Narayan Murthy, fantastic what you have said. Having a sense of ownership and commitment to your nation is a desirable feeling, but have we done enough to inculcate that sense of commitment and ownership to your nation, to the nation? Now the author answers the question. On the first question, right, what was the first question? Have we done enough to inculcate this feeling? We are arguably falling short. No, we haven't done enough. That's what he's saying. Falling short means we haven't reached that level. The lives and views of the top 10% dominate our popular culture. The lived reality for a vast number of young people diverges at birth from these aspirational narratives. 10% of the top 10% of the population dominate the popular culture. A vast number of young people are not, they diverge from these aspirational narratives. Segregation based on class and other markers of social capital are rightly maintained, and it is difficult to think of egalitarian spaces where people mingle as relative equals across this divide. So what's he saying? There is separation on the basis of class and other markers and other criteria. You cannot find spaces, egalitarian spaces, spaces built on equality, where people mingle as relative equals. You can't find such spaces. And it is not evident that there is a readily available path to socio-economic mobility. It's people who are born poor can become rich. People who are socially, economically backward can go upward mobility. But in India, according to the editor, he is being very negative, very critical here. He says there is no ready path for this kind of socio-economic mobility in India. So basically he is saying that no, we have not created conditions for to develop this sense of shared identity and commitment in our youth. He goes on the same topic. Over 40% of graduates under 25 years old are unemployed, while incomes among the salaried have remained stagnant. So one, you have unemployed youth. The other, those who are employed, their incomes are stagnant. The inability to productively employ educated youth. So our country has failed to employ our educated youth, and this is a top-down failure. Why? Why are we not able to give employment to our educated youth? Because mass education is subpar and there are not enough jobs. One, you have mass education and that the quality of that education is not good. Second, we don't have enough jobs. There is thus a case to be made to absorb more people in employment, to give them a foothold in formal economy and an opportunity to learn instead of artificially reducing open positions by extracting overtime from those who are employed. So the author says, because of this situation, let's try to get as many people, let's absorb more people in employment, so we give them some sort of foothold in the formal economy. We should give them an opportunity to learn instead of making the people who are already employed work harder, work more hours. Consider too the nature of work we are creating for our young people. So when you're talking of creating jobs for our young people, what kind of jobs are you creating? Here again the author is very critical. He says one of the most visible and accessible avenues for employment for our youth is becoming gig work. So what kind of jobs are we creating for our youth? Gig work, driving a taxi or delivering packages. Set aside for a minute the important issue of fair compensation. So what's he saying? Okay, are they being compensated fairly? That is an issue. Let's not even look at that issue. Let's look at the other side. Focus only on the learning potential and growth prospects of such work. What is the learning potential and growth prospects of gig work? None, unlike other jobs. In other jobs, there's an opportunity that you will grow, you will learn. But in gig work, nothing. Why? Instead, the defining characteristic, what kind of characteristics does gig work have so that it doesn't offer any opportunities? Their fungibility and their repeatability. One, you can easily replace. These jobs don't require any formal training, so they're easily replaceable and they're repeatable. It's the same thing you keep doing over and over again. Also, there's atomization, which makes it impossible for anyone performing these roles to gain larger responsibility. So in the gig work, you are working as an individual, delivering packages, driving something. There is no scope for you to grow, to go higher, to get a larger responsibility. Irrespective of your performance and capability, you can be very capable, your performance can be fantastic. Yet, there is no scope for growth, there is no scope for greater responsibility. You'll be doing the same work over and over again. Yet, okay, that's one side of the story. The other side of the story, a small segment of India is booming. There's a part of India that's doing very well, which is why the argument always says there are two Indias, one India and one Bharat. Excuse me, I'll take a swig of water. There are reports that chronicle, there are reports that document, that really put down how, that give in great detail how the benefits of growth are disproportionately. India is growing, India is developing for sure, but the benefits of this growth are disproportionately being cornered by the top 10%. 90% of India does not get the benefits of growth. A major share, a lion's share of the benefits go to the top 10% of the population. So what's the result of this? India has a K-shaped growth where the rich become richer, the poor become poorer. Set against this context, so look at this context. People are not getting job, educated people are unemployed. If they get any employment, it is gig work where there are no prospects, no scope of higher responsibility, no scope of growth. On the other side, of course, India is developing, but the benefits of development accrue to only a small percentage, only 10% of the population. Set against this context, an ordinary young person, let's say you're an average young Indian, not part of that 10%, may not feel that he or she is an equal participant and a stakeholder in national progress. If you don't get the benefits of progress, how will you feel you're a stakeholder in that progress? So an ordinary young person may not feel that he has any role in that, or he is a stakeholder in that progress. The onus is thus on those of us, the fortunate ones with power and the platform, should make a tangible effort to create that sense of shared belonging, should ensure equitable growth before we urge our young youth to work harder in the name of nation building. Before you ask our youth to work for nation building, remember, create a situation, create the sense of shared belonging. Ensure that growth is fair, more equitable, more distributed, rather than cornering up 10% getting most of the benefits. Once you do that, then you can tell youngsters to work harder in the name of nation building. So this is his answer to Narayan Murthy, saying that the youth of our country should work harder, longer hours. The second question is about what does it mean to contribute to nation building as a young person. You're a youngster, so you say, okay, contribute to nation building, I want to do, but what exactly does it mean? Nation building is an act of, this again is the editor's answer, nation building is an act of citizenship and productivity. It's an act of citizenship. Productivity measured narrowly in economic terms cannot be an element of citizenship. Narayan Murthy seems to have linked productivity with nation building. Author says linking productivity, linking nation building to productivity is narrow. It's narrowing it down to economic terms. Nation building is an act of citizenship, and this linking productivity to nation building doesn't work. If you do that, if you link productivity with nation building, if you think of nation building in narrow economic terms, what would be the result? The result, if this logic, if allowed to stand, will result in some citizens becoming more valuable than others in principle, not just in unfortunate practice. So if you do that, what will happen is you will make certain, right now in practice, some people are treated as being more beneficial, more valuable than others. In theory also you will accept that some people are more valuable than the others. That will be unfortunate. Alright, so a very nice passage, a hard-hitting passage where the author expresses his disagreement with what Narayan Murthy said about nation building and about youth putting in more hours. Let's look at the questions. What is the author's opinion about Narayan Murthy's statement on longer work hours for Indian youth? He doesn't believe in that. But what exactly sums up the passages? More like an inference-based question. Prasanna has said it is A. What about the others? The statement reveals his rather narrow idea of nation building. The statement is pertinent to contemporary India. He will not say pertinent because he doesn't agree with the author. The statement reveals Murthy's elitist view of human society, not so broad. It does show in some ways the view is elitist, but not about human society. The passage is all about India, right? Longer working hours are relevant provided both and the young and the old put in more hours. He didn't say that. He said nation commitment to the nation is relevant. Therefore, Prasanna, you're right. The correct answer is A. All right. Question 2. What does the author suggest about nation building? So the author has, this is again an inferential question. The author has given a lot of views on nation building. Think of what he said and see which option sums up or comes close to or what can be deduced about the author's views on nation building. A sense of ownership and commitment to one's country is a sentiment worth inculcating in our young. Nation building is an act of citizenship and productivity has to be measured in economic terms as a constituent element of citizenship. What is required is to foster a sense of national purpose and a visible attempt by our top 10% to give to our country and move everyone forward. People are not aware of what it means to contribute to nation building. So what do you think is the right answer? If you remember right, all right, I've got both answers, Aditya and Prasanna for C. Yes, indeed, that the top 10% must create that situation where there is this equitable distribution and also where they make the youth feel that they belong to the nation, not a sense of alienation. And then, so by setting the precedent, they can help urge youngsters to join in the nation building effort. So exactly C, excellent. Question 3. Which of the following arguments has been given by the author against more work hours? So he has said, look, everything he has given. There's at one point where he talks about why more work hours do not make sense. In what way has he said? Of course, he says before that, build a situation, all that he has said. But exactly what does he say against the current people who are working to extend their work hours? The work hours in India are already too long. Extending them will be counterproductive. Or, as he said, extending work hours of the employed youth would reduce open positions for the unemployed. More people must be absorbed and work hours must be extended for all youth, or none of the above. All right, I've got B as the answer. Why did you change your mind, Aditya, to D? Why did you change your mind to D? Let's go back to what he says. So one point he says, before asking the youth to work longer, make sure you give them a platform to feel a sense of commitment, make sure there's equitable growth. But he did speak against extending here. The second reason where he says, look, our 40% of under 25 graduates are unemployed. So we have failed in giving employment to the unemployed youth. Therefore, you have to absorb more people in employment to give them a foothold in the formal economy instead of artificially reducing open positions. When you extract overtime from those who are employed, if you're making the people who are employed work more, then you are reducing the opportunity for somebody else to be taken, right? So extending work hours for employed youth would reduce open positions for the unemployed. B is correct. Open positions which are there. So let's say there are 10 people doing a particular work and the pressure is, there's a deadline and the number of people employed is not enough because everybody is already working at 120%, 140% of their capability. Now, what would a normal company do? Employ 2 more, so the burden is reduced. By asking what Narayan Murthy said, 70 hours, extend work hours, what are you doing? You are stopping a new person from being recruited. So open positions are being reduced when the employed are given more hours. So Narayan Murthy, he has not directly said that, but that is exactly what he is hinting. All right? Okay, next one. What is the author's opinion about Indian education system? Mass education is subpar, right? That's what he said. So what is his opinion? Skeptical, critical, prognostic, or sardonic? Give me an answer and then I'll give you the, give me the question number. All right. Skeptical means doubting the veracity, doubting the good point of anything. Critical, where you are openly saying, look, this is not good. Prognostic, you are trying to predict what will happen, right? And sardonic means sarcastic, critical and sarcastic, right? So he is being critical, option B. Okay, good. Let's look at the next one. Which one best sums up the author's views on nation building? He has expressed a lot of views. Out of the options given, which one do you think best describes at least a part of what he has said about nation building? Nation building has to be made mandatory for all, young and old alike. Nation building is synonymous with productivity and should be measured in economic terms. People who get involved in nation building will be treated as more valuable than others, or measuring nation building narrowly in economic terms will have negative consequences. Which one sums up his views on nation building? He has expressed a lot of views, right? Before asking the youth to build, to get involved in nation building, give them, create a feeling in them that they belong to the nation, right? Yes, please ask. All right. So A, nation building has to be made mandatory for all. No. What is to be made mandatory for all? He didn't say anything about mandatory, but he said sense of commitment to the nation has to be there. Please ask Basha. Nation building is synonymous with productivity, contradicts what he has said. He said you cannot identify nation building in narrow economic terms to productivity. People who get involved in nation building, no. If you look at nation building in narrow economic terms, then you will treat certain people as being more valuable than others, right? But this is what he has said. What are the negative consequences? Negative consequences is that you'll treat some people as being more valuable than others. In practice and in principle, it will become a reality. All right? Okay, I'm waiting for your question. So the answer is D. All right. Which one is an antonym or opposite? Basha, I'm waiting for your question. Till then, which one is an opposite of advocated? Narayan Murthy has advocated a 70-hour a week. So what is the opposite of advocated? A, prescribed, B, propagated, C, refuted, D, commended. Commend, I mean another part of speech, but what is the question asking, Aditya? What is the question asking? Is it asking the meaning? Advocate means what? To advocate as a noun means a lawyer. If I advocate a cause, that means I'm supporting it or I'm speaking in favor of it. Okay, so advocate means to propagate, to support, to speak in favor of. उसका उल्टा क्या है? What is the opposite of it? To refuse, to deny, to oppose, right? Suggest, prescribe means to suggest, and suggest means to, in a way, it's similar, it's not the opposite. Commend, recommend means to, commend is to praise. Okay, similar, it's a positive. So advocated means to support. You want a word with a negative context, which has a negative connotation, so refuted or said no. All right, so look at the question. All right, all of the following can be inferred about gig jobs except. One paragraph of the editorial was all about gig jobs and gig workers. So which one cannot be inferred about gig workers from what the author has said? They have minimum prospect of growth and learning. The workers are easily replaceable. The work is repetitive with no prospect of greater responsibility, or they offer great monetary compensation for their workers. No, commend is to praise. Commend is to praise. You commend somebody's effort means you approve or praise. Command is to order. All right. All right, okay. So which ones? They offer, he didn't say, he said put aside the question of compensation. Ignore. But that doesn't mean he's saying they get fairly compensated. Actually, they don't, right? All right, next one. Not a synonym of tangible. Please ask a question relevant to the class, okay? Do not disturb serious students. That is my advice to you, Basha, and that's my answer to your question. All right? My language and whether my marital status and my language are not relevant to this class. If you have any questions pertaining to the class, please ask, I will answer it. All right, which is not a synonym of tangible. There are tangible benefits to this, okay? There are certain things which are intangible in life. All right, so what is tangible and what is the opposite of tangible? Opposite of tangible is obviously intangible, but that word is not here. So we are looking at which one is not just the opposite. We are looking at which one is not a synonym of tangible. Tangible is what is physical, what can be touched, what is real, what is material. Therefore, Aditya is correct. A is not a synonym. The right answer. All right. Next question. What is the meaning of the word onus? The onus is on us to build a platform. The rich, the people who have the power, the people who have the platform to help the nation grow, these people have to create conditions so that there's equal distribution of the benefits of development, so that everyone in the country feels that they are a part of the nation, right? So what is the meaning of onus? Onus means responsibility. It can also mean burden, but here it means responsibility. So the correct answer is C. Excellent. All right. Our mandatory grammar question of the day. I have taken 4 sentences from the passage. All right. Which of the statements is incorrect? One is grammatically wrong. Identify the statement that is grammatically wrong, because cat is just 20 days away. Not even 20 days away. Yeah, exactly 20 days away. After that, you have exams where grammar, vocabulary, everything will be asked, right? I will not read it because I have a habit of pausing. It happens just without my realizing it. Involuntarily, it happens that I pause or I give away the mistake. So you read and tell me or identify the sentence that has a grammatical error in it. A, B, C or D. Which statement is grammatically wrong? Okay, Prasanna says it's D. What about the others? Infosys founder Narayan Murthy touched off a debate, started off. Set aside for a minute the important issue of fair compensation to focus only on the learning potential and growth prospects of such work. Okay, seems to be fine. Nation building is an act of ownership, and productivity measured narrowly in economic terms cannot be a constitutive element of citizenship. Over 40% of graduates under 25 years old are unemployed, while incomes among the salaried level have remained stagnant. So it's a agreement issue, and the incorrect answer is D. If you haven't joined and want to join the CAT 24, do unlock our free trial and take our courses. Our courses have mocks, practice tests, topic tests, in addition to async and sync classes. So first you get recorded sessions where your basics are clear, and then you have courses with experts. We have the best team of teachers for English and for I'm trying to keep it short. I'm trying to keep it within half an hour, Aditya. All right, now All India Open Mock for NMAT. If you've registered for a later date for NMAT, 13th to 17th, the paper will be exactly on the NMAT pattern. Some of us have taken the test, and now we have altered the NMAT to the new NMAT, right? There have been some changes in the kind of questions, and so we've tried to incorporate those changes. So do take that. Register for it and take NMAT if you are interested in joining any of the Narsi Monji branches. Join our any of the social channels so that you can know that 40% of the graduates are Prasanna. See, when you have percentages, fractions followed by a prepositional phrase, okay, then you ask yourself if the prepositional phrase which follows a fraction or a percentage, if that gives an idea of number or amount. If it's number, it will be are. If it is amount, it will be is. So 40% of the population is poor, but 40% of the graduates are poor, or whatever. Understood? All right, I'm glad you asked that question. I should have given that. Thank you. All right, I shouldn't miss those. I will see you again next Tuesday with another analysis, with another good editorial. Until then, work hard. Do watch our sessions on YT. Subscribe to our YT channel so that you can see all our sessions. Join our courses. Once you have an idea of our pedagogy, join our courses. Watch these sessions on our app. I will see you again very soon. Until then, bye-bye. See you guys. Bye.